Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today we're talking about Xbox Series S because it's outselling all the other consoles on Black Friday. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started with this. So I just got done reading an article that said the Xbox Series S has been outselling every other major console. That's PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, as well as Nintendo Switch OLED during the Black Friday shopping. And that's pretty strategic on Microsoft's part for the most part. That was the console that they are mainly trying to push. This is for the casual gamer. This is for the parents who need to buy an Xbox, a next gen Xbox for their kids, so they can play Fortnite on it. To deliver an amazing value of Game Pass, get them in there without a disc drive, so that they feel more inclined to purchase Xbox Game Pass going forward. That is a strategic uh, product placement by Microsoft, to not only compete in the lower range, with the Nintendo Switch, but also to deliver a next gen experience that fills next gen. Might not, have the 4K capabilities, but it will fill next gen on a 1080p screen and a 1440p monitor. You will get a next gen experience. But now here comes the real question. This is what is really going to be the question going forward. Will developers truly utilize the specs of the Xbox Series S to deliver a next gen gaming experience? Or will they do what they normally do and resort to, making the game look pretty and running at 30 frames a second? We both know, we all know that the CPU in the Xbox Series S is just as powerful and just as potent as the Xbox Series X, as well as the PlayStation 5, and way above what the Nintendo Switch can offer. By Nintendo dragging their feet and not bringing a next gen experience to the console market for going forward, that's really kind of frustrating. I mean, to just get an OLED screen, with the LA import in the back of the dock that is clearly going to be used to stream high end visuals and stuff. Um, the thing is an NVIDIA Shield TV. It's the same thing. And if GeForce Now can run games at 4K 60 on that, you better believe that there's something in the works for the Nintendo Switch OLED to be able to deliver a more next gen experience through streaming. Streaming is going to be a big part of our future in gaming, and to be able to really take advantage of that, you're going. I mean, it would be insane for Nintendo not to be positioning Nintendo Switch OLED as a entry level for their next gen. It would just be crazy for them to not take advantage of the GeForce Now streaming. That would be insane. So um, let's dive a little bit deeper into this, okay? Because I have a Series X, I have a Series S, I have a PlayStation 5. Gaming on the Series S is a pretty decent is a pretty decent experience so far if you're playing on a 1080p TV or 1440p monitor. Now, some games are going to have higher resolution and be able to run pretty decently on a 4K TV, but I still caution against running this setup on a 4K TV. But at the same time, I also feel like HDR is essential in gaming, and the fact that it can run Dolby Vision on the Series S, that's pretty good. But you're not going to find a whole lot of 1080p sets out there that are going to offer you HDR of any kind. So the next best thing would be a monitor for to be able to run that at. This is interesting, okay? The Series S can run games all the way up to 120 frames a second. I have physically seen that happen. I have played 120 FPS on my daughter's Series S. It does do Dolby Vision. It does have HDR. It does also. support higher resolutions than 1080p on certain titles. So going forward, because everything we've got right now is basically cross-gen games. Cross-gen games. The Series S is more than capable of running those cross-gen games. But then when you start to look at beta tests, or you start to look at games like Battlefield 2042, and you start to look at games like Elden Ring, that are both, these are cross-gen games, but their performance on Series S is definitely going to leave you a little wanting. Now the Series S does have capability to use VRR support. So you can hook that up to a monitor with VRR or a TV that has VRR. But again, those are going to be 4K when you get to the TV, because I don't think there's any 1080p TVs that are going to have VRR support. That technology is just not as not as not as not as wanted. I mean, people don't. The TV manufacturers are focusing all their next gen features on their 4K screens. So um, a monitor is probably the best way to go if you're really thinking about wanting to be able to use VRR and everything for a Series S. Now this does technically put Microsoft in a tricky position, because if the Xbox Series S is the highest sold console that they make, um, they're they're gonna to have developers that are going to take advantage of this console. Now, their first party teams are doing an amazing job. I mean, you've got games like Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite running really nicely on the Series S, so we know it can be done. But those are cross-gen games. You have Microsoft Flight Simulator running on the Xbox Series S. So, yes, that is at 30 frames a second, and it's capped at 30 frames a second. So, I'm wondering, what are developers going to be able to do going forward with this console? Because if it keeps selling more than the Series X, and if it starts to get to a point where it's more sought after than the PlayStation 5, no, saying okay, PlayStation fanboys don't. I'm not saying that the Xbox Series S is going to outsell your precious PlayStation 5, but it just might. I mean, Nintendo Switch is doing that. Nintendo Switch is out there blowing the doors off of everything. So if you've got another competitor in that market space that's going to offer you the Call of Duties, the NBA 2Ks, the Madden footballs, all the other next gen games that aren't going to be readily available on the Nintendo Switch, that Xbox Series S is a mighty, mighty fine proposition for anybody that doesn't really care about the resolution, that doesn't really care about, all the super performance that we're going to get out of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. So yeah, there is a possibility that thing might do extremely well this generation, especially with being coupled with the Game Pass subscription. You might want to take this little guy seriously, because there's a lot of people out there that just don't care to have the best, that just want a console, that are buying this for their kids. So there's definitely going to be a lot of software that is going to be shaky on this console as well, like going forward. Like, just expect that. I mean, as much as we all want developers to sit down and focus a lot of R&D into really, really squeezing every drop of power out of that Xbox Series S, there's always that chance that that's just not going to happen. Like, I mean, that thing is a pretty capable beast. I mean, we've seen really amazing visuals on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and yeah, dude, it's 4 teraflops, 4 teraflops of graphic power. So yeah, you're definitely going to get your visuals. You're gonna have stuff that's gonna range from freaking 1080p all the way up to 4K on that console. And if they start using all of the features, like mesh shaders, VRS, ray tracing, everything else that can be done on that Xbox Series S, yeah, this is going to be a pretty potent machine going forward. The 4 teraflops. I mean, the biggest thing that might really affect it is the memory, not having the memory. But we've heard Microsoft talk about velocity architecture a lot, and it's a straight shot. If they could bypass having to use actual RAM on the console, and just have it streamed directly from the SSD, That's going to free up a lot of memory resources. That's going to allow them to create bigger experiences, but that's going to take time for developers to really understand how to use and push forward. Now, like I said, we're seeing some games, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, um, Forza Horizon 5. Some of these other newer experiences that are coming out, they are starting to take advantage of this, and they are delivering an experience that's higher resolution than 1080p, which is pretty interesting all on its own. So I'm optimistic about Series S. I really am. I would really like to see what these consoles can do. I mean, like most of you guys, I am at a point where I'm like, I want to start seeing next gen games. I want to start seeing for both consoles, for my PS5, for my Xbox. I want to see next gen games using next gen features that are really pushing these consoles to show us what they can really do, because we haven't seen anything truly yet, and I'm really optimistic about that, and I don't want to like jump the gun and get all invested into a PC and start really enjoying that and then, kind of put those on the back burner. I want to see what these beasts can do before I completely pull the trigger on PC going forward. So, if you like this content, if you thought this was interesting, or if you think I'm just crazy, let me know in the comments. I want to know. But definitely hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.